Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. In this video, we'll be looking into how to create this COVID-19 live states, and we'll be creating this type of cards with the cases, deaths, and also recover. And the data that you can see here is coming from an API, and this is the latest updated, which is around the time that I'm currently recording. And we can also see the country which got affected from this virus as well. And not only that, we can search for the country. So let's say in this case I want to search for Australia, then you can see that this is the total of cases, and also this is the number of death, recover, today cases, today death, active, and also critical as well. And not only that, we can also when I try to inspect this, we can see that this is actually a responsive website. So as you can see that this is responsive, and when I try to change the screen size to mobile size, you can see that it's responsive to from 3 cards in a row to just one. And this is what we're going to build. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so here are some of the information regarding the API, the COVID-19 API. How did I get it and where to get it? So here it is. So let's say when you try to search for COVID-19 live states, then the first one, which is this website, the worldmeters.info, and when you click on this, you can see that this is the number of cases and the death and recover. This is coming from the number is actually coming from around the world, and this is basically like a table that you can search for that as well. So let me try to search for Cambodia, which is my country. Then you can see that this is the total cases and all of these type of informations. And let me search for, say, New Zealand. You can also see that this is the number that got affected so far. And this is one of the information that we gonna look into. But then how did we get this? And here I did try to search for COVID-19 API. Then there are tons of this information, and I look to basically look through most of this, and maybe I search for this as well, Corona API. Then there's a lot of information about this API, but it's not quite the API that I'm looking for to get exactly the same as this website. Then I found out that this is one of the place where I can look for the API. And then when I scroll down, you can see that there are different types of API. This is the open source projects, and you can see this is the start for all of this repository. And this one, let's say when I try to open this is coming from China, and there are more right here. So you can see that when I scroll down, there's a lot of information about this. But when I try to click on the API to see the result coming from this, it's still not the same as the one that I'm looking for, which is from this website. So for this one, it's actually from the JHU, which is from the Johns Hopkins University in USA, and also this one as well. But again, it's not the same for what I'm looking for. And eventually this is the one which is we can see that there are tons of API coming from here, the novel COVID. And when I try to click on this API, and also this is the countries as well. So see, this is the number of death, and this is the updated this is the data. But you can see that the date is not what we can't understand this, because this is in the milliseconds. So we try to convert this into a normal date, and now this is the cases, the depth, the recover, and this is all of the information about each country. And this one is exactly the same as this. So we will be using this API here for our React application, and how to implement and how to get this information to show it on the front end, just I show you on those cards. Alright, so now let's try to create a new project, and I first need to navigate to my drive V, and then I'm going to do npx create React apps, and I just give my project a name as COVID-19. So it try to basically create a new React project, and once this done, we will need to navigate to that project, and we going to install some libraries. Alright guys, so the project has been installed. Now let me navigate to that cd COVID-19 projects, and then I try to start this application. Alright, so now it's running here. We're going to edit this page. So let me open this in my Visual Studio Code. So here we go. This is it. Now let me try to configure this. So this is the div tag. Just keep that. And then I just again say hi. And we no longer need this. Same as this one. Just keep it as simple as it is, and see if we can edit this page. So here we go. This is the text that we just added. Just say hi. And now what I need to do, I need to basically create like a cards, but then where I'm going to create, or do I need to create from scratch? I'll show you how to create that using this library. Alright, so here's the library that we're going to use. And this is from React Bootstrap, and you can see that there are many types of cards that we can actually implement. And now let's see, this is the one that we're going to implement, as well as this one as well. So this is the card in the groups, and when I scroll down, we can see this is the card decks. This one here, we have like space in between compared to this one, and this is the last updated, and this is also the image if we want to actually implement or put it here. And this is all the code. This is the card columns, so it has 3 columns. And now what I want is actually the card decks. I want to group them into like these 3 columns. But before that, how do I implement, or how do I install this React Bootstrap library? I need to open this in a new page and see the information how to get started. So here we go. This is the installation guide. I need to copy this to install the React Bootstrap. Now let me do it now. Here, terminate this pressing Ctrl C, and I'm going to paste that command here. So while this installing, I'll need to also show you what's else that we need to do. So see that it doesn't depend on version of the Bootstrap, so we don't ship it with any included CSS, and some styling is required to use these components. So we might probably also using this as well, but then we'll see. And this is the source, customize the Bootstrap. So yep, see, once this done, we can actually go and try to import this library. So when I scroll down, you can see that this is the import that we need, the card, and we going to use the card decks with this one here. Right, now it's done. Let me try to start this React again. Alright, so here we have the card decks, the card, image, the body, title, So now let me try to copy all of this and then put it into our React. And here it is, just place this and then save. So we might probably need to import these two, the React text. And here we need to import this library, which is, click on this to copy, and it's on top. So let's see on the React. Here we also need to import the card text as mentioned. So I just need to import card text from the same as that, React bootstrap / card text. So now let's go back, see. Here it is, and we can see some information, but then we don't have the styling. Again, go back to this, and we need to import this CSS. So from here, I need to import the CSS here, and then let's try to refresh that again. Alright, so this is actually what we're looking for, and we might need to update something, which is we don't need the image, so we don't need that image. Just remove. Also, I want to change the color to this one here, which is the first one, which it's called, let's see the code here. So it has this property, which is the background, the key, and also this is the text, the color of the text, and this is the styling. So what we need to have the background color, which is this one. Alright, so now let me go back, and then here inside this card, just put background image equal to, so the value should be the second one, which is the secondary. But then when you try to see this here, it tried to convert this to lowercase. So secondary here, I need to copy that, and the first one I need to convert this, basically use like a smaller case. And let's see. Alright, so now we change the background color to gray, and I also need to change the text as well. So here the text going to be white. And also if we see this, this is the class name, it says like tag new, updated 3 minutes ago. We can't really see it here, so I need to just remove this small, and then here I change this to cases, the text, and this is the number, so say right now just 100. And yep, just want to see if we got that. Alright, so here we go, this is what we actually looking for. And now I also need to update this too as well. And I also need to mention that this video might take a little bit longer than the usual one, because we try to create this from scratch, and I want to show you step by step, so it would take longer than normal. Alright, so now I have also changed the second card and the third card as well. So here the background to danger, which is the red color, and this is the text color, this is the success, which is the green color. So here this is the result from that, the def, recover, and then cases, and this is also the footer. And now let's see, so this is the success, which is the green, and this is the danger, which is the red one. But you can see that the code from here and from the one that I implement on React is completely different. The thing is that right here they are trying to use the loop, it try to loop through all of that and then try to show the result on here. But then I just want to create something that I can show you straight away, so I just copy like one by one right here. And right now. So the next step that I'm going to do, as you can see that this is align left, I want to align the text center. So here if we see right here, some of this is actually align center, and see if we can actually use the code from there. So you can see this is the text, right? This is the class name, and alright, so here this is the one, the class name, the text center. So we just need to use this inside the code, which is this. So let me try to copy 3 of this and save that. Alright, so now it has a line center for the text. And what's the next step? Let's see if this is responsive. Try to inspect this. Yep, it's responsive. But there's one thing, you can see that there's no margins around this code. So I might want to import the margin for this as well. So right here, I just do style and then margin 10 pixel. The same for the other two. Right, so here we can see that we have the margin around the code. It looks better now. So what's the next step? I want to implement this API. Try to show it right here because this is like the static one. Alright, so to get the basically like fetching the data from the API, say this one here. So I want to fetch this data and put it inside the React. Then I will be using this library, the Axios, and this is the number of download. So now let's install this library. So I just need to copy the command, which is npm install Axios, or I can use the shortcut npm Axios. Cool, it's been installed. Now let me try to start this application again. Alright, so I can import the Axios from Axios, and I need to use the use effects. I need to import the use effects. So what it does, when I try to reload the website or the page, then it try to do something using this use effects. Alright, so now I have imported here. So this is the use effects, and this is the Axios, also to get the information from this this link. So here, if we successfully fetch that data, and then it shows the result inside the console log, and if not, if there's an error, then we just display the error on the console log. Alright, so now let me see if we try to inspect this and see the result. So the console, let me try to refresh this again. Alright, here we go. So this is the data that we get it from. These are the cases, the depth, and this is the recover, which is the same as this one here. Alright, so I want to store this information inside variable, and then I can just use that to show on this, which is the dynamic value. I need to use the use state to store the information, and here I'm going to create a variable called let test, and then set let test. The format you can see right here is the React hooks, and I store this information inside string, and I need to change from the console log to set let test, and yep, that should be good to go. Once we set that and put it we can just use this information here, the latest. So inside the latest, we can see that it has the cases, the def and recover. So to access each of these individual information, I need to copy this cases, and then right here, cases dot latest dot cases. And now let me try to refresh this. Right, cool. So this is the data which is coming from here, and I'll do the same for the others as well. So just change this to def, same as this one, latest dot recover. Alright, so here we have that, and the next one is the updated. So when we try to go back and see what is the format of the date. Alright, so here you can see that the data updated return milliseconds. What we can do, we can use this type of information, and it return like an ISO date. So this is the one that we're going to use. And to see that the milliseconds, let me try to copy this and open inside a website. Alright, so this is the website current milliseconds. So when I try to paste it here, you can see that this is the date, which is the date from, this is the 28th, the local time. So here it is, and this is the local time, and this is the date that it's updated. Alright, so I need to write a little bit of code here. So this is the value that what I did is try to get the milliseconds from that API, and then I convert it into the integer, which is the number. And once I have that, I put it inside this variable, which is the date. Then I store it inside this date. The thing is that if I want to use this variable straight away, then I'll get an error. So I need to convert this into the toString. To convert it into string, then now I can just use this information. And now let me try to replace this 3 seconds into latest dot last updated. Basically, I don't need that at all. So I just need to use this last updated straight away, same as this, and with this one. So let's see the result on the website. Alright, so here it is. We can see that we have this, let me zoom in a little bit. So this is the last updated Saturday, and this is the time, and Australian Easter daylight time. So this is the format. And one thing is to note that if I try or I want to change this time format to just say like the date and also with the year, and as well as this only this part, then I can do that as well. There's a library for doing that. Alright, so here this is the library React Moments, and we can see that I can change different type of the time to whatever format that I want. There's a lot of information here. You can see that here as well as here. But in this video, I'm not gonna install this library. I just keep it as it is for now. And yep, that's the first 3 cards that we get that from the cases, and this is the date. So the next step that I need to do, I'll try to use another API from this repo. And also I just want to shout out to all of the contributors for these APIs. It's just amazing. And the next one here, you can see that this is the version 1, all of this information, and some are deprecated. So say this one here, it has now moved to the version 2, and this is the historical, and it's the country name, which is from here. But I want to actually use is to return all the country that has COVID-19. So which is this one right here. So here we go. This is the kind of information that we want. So since we are now using another API at the same time, so this code won't work. I need to convert this into using both API at the same time. Okay, so now I convert this into using this .all, and then we can just get two API at the same time, or we can add more down here. And then once we have that, if it's successful, then the first one here is to set to the latest, which is the same as the previous one. And here, this is the other one, which is coming from this all the countries here. So I'm using this API now. And once it's successfully, then I try to console log to see the result. And if you notice that this is the first array, the first index, which is referring to this one, and this is the first index, which is refers to this the second one. And there's a different type, different way of using that as well. So say if the first one is latest, then I can just say it's like latest dot, and the second one can be like country or result. Then I can just do something like this, and instead of showing like an array format, then I can just do something like latest or country. This work the same way, but I just want to show you using this array. And now see on the website if we can show the result. So here we go with this one here, and then you can see that this is the result coming from that API. This is the list of country with different type of information inside, like cases, today cases, stuff, and so on and so forth here. So now we get that, and I need to install it inside, basically storing inside the variable. I'm going to call this as results dot set results, and with this one use state, and this store inside the array. And if you remember, the first one, it's not supposed to be in a string, it's supposed to be in an array format, because we are getting the information in a JSON format. So we should store it inside this array type. And now I need to change this to set results. So all of the country coming from this API, it will store inside this here. And now we will need to use this. Alright, so how I gonna use that? I can't copy all of this code like 200 times or 100 plus times to show you one by one inside this array, like the results. Then I need to create like a reusable component, which is try to create one, and then it try to loop through all of that using the map function. Alright, so now I have created this reusable component. You can see that I try to loop through this results dot map. So this is the data, each of the data or each of the result. Then I just need to access the result dot country, or as well as this one here, the result dot cases. I want to test to see if this is working. And the background for this one I use light, and the text is dark, and the same as the previous one. So now I need to import that, or try to show it onto the front end. So right here I can just do like countries. Alright, so here we can see all of this different type of information. So this means that it's working perfectly fine. Then I need to do next is to import other information underneath here. Alright, so I import some other information here. Now let's go back, and we can see the results is here. And now let me show you what I'm going to do next. So which in this case, you can see that it's better if you can put like an image on top of the card. So this case we can use something like the flag, which is inside this country info dot flag, which is the flag, and we can just show each flag on to each of the card here. Alright, so now I import the card.image, and this is the source coming from data.countryinfo.flag, and now let's see the result. So here we can see that this we can get each country flag to show on each of the card as well. And the thing is that if we try to look here, we can see that while each child in the list should have a unique key prop, so we need to add the index inside each of the one right here, because if you can see, we are using the map, so each of this should have like a unique key property. So instead of data alone, I will need to import like the I, stand for index, and I change it here to key equal I. Alright, so now let's see the result. Let me try to refresh. Alright, so we can see that the warning has now gone since we add each of the property here. I try to render one by one, and now if we notice, this is what not something that we actually want. The reason is that you can see even when I try to close this, you can see like the whole screens of each flag plus information. We want to have something like showing something like this, which is each of the columns at least 3, or it can be 2 or 4. So I need to try to change this. Alright, so let me try to put this inside the card.dex to see if it fixed that issue. So just like that, and then now let's see the result. So we can see that there is an issue right here because we can't seem to have like 3 columns, and see if there's something else. So here we can try using the card columns. So now let me try to import that library on top of here. So it's going to be the card columns from the React bootstrap /card columns, and supposed to have like S, if I remember that correctly. Yep, with S as well, same as this one, just put it like that, and then I try to grab that information and put it inside here. So now let's see if we can have the result that we want. Try to reload. Alright, it's looking good now. It tried to get each of the information from each country, and then here is the result. But there is one thing, which is let me try to see if this is responsive. Yeah, looks good here, but now what about this one? Right. Alright, so it seems to be better, but this is not really I'm looking for. So here, if you can see, this like a little bit of margin, but then here it doesn't have that. And if I try to change the screen size to a little bit smaller, then we can see that instead of getting 2, we just get like 1 straight away, 1 column. So I need to change this using another library and see if I can find that one. Alright, so I'm going to use this library. It's have something like detecting different type of the screen size. So say if this is the screen size of 500, then it's showing me as 2 columns. Then if it's in between this pixel, then it try to show me like 3. So this is the one that I'm going to use. Now let's try to install this library again. So just click copy and terminate. Installing. Alright, it installed, and also I restart that React again, and now I import it right here, which is coming from these React columns, and I need to replace these card columns from React Bootstrap to this library. And now let's check out the result. Alright, here we go. This is the result using that React columns, and we can now see it's looking better. But now let me try to inspect this and see if this is responsive. Alright, so it has now these 3 columns, and now I try to resize this. It's still 3. The reason is that we haven't really implement or use this type of information here. So I need to basically copy this part, and then I'm going to put it here. And for that query, I just need to copy this part right here as that. And now let's see again. Inspect. Here it is. Now let's see, this is the screen size, and then I try to change that to more than 500 pixel, and we would now see something like 2 columns, as we can see it here. That looks good. And if it's more than 1,000 pixel around this here, we would see something like 3 columns. Alright, so as you can see that this is the benefit of using these React columns compared to this original card columns, because we have more option to change, more property for that one. So we're gonna try to stick to this one. And now let me try to comment this out or delete this straight away, since we no longer do using this one. And that looks better now. So the next step that I'm going to implement, the next features, I'll implement the search text box right here. So once we have all the information, I want to search for say country start with C or country start with CH, stuff like that. So I'll try to use see if React Bootstrap has the form field that I can use. We can try to use the text field from this React Bootstrap. It has some sort of like an effects when we try to click on this, and yep, let's try to use this one. Alright, so this is the code that we can try to use, and before that I need to import it on top of here. So it's called forms, coming from React Bootstrap form, and here let me try to copy the whole thing and put it underneath, in between these 2 cards. And we don't need this one, we just need to say search this one here, just say like search. It's actually not a group, but then yeah, just keep it as it is for now. Alright, so we have like a search, but then this is not entering the email. The type, I just changed this to text. and then placeholder I can just say it's like search a country. Or I can just get rid of the label here, since these two quite the same, and then yep, should be like this. So once I try to say search for a country like Australia or Cambodia, then what it does, it try to filter out all of the available countries here, and it try to filter out the one that I'm looking for. Okay, so I need to create a new variable called, in this case, search country, and then just set search country equal to set state, so storing in a string, and we will be using the on change. So whenever that we try to press or type something onto that text field, then it will store that information inside that variable. So now let me do it here. So whenever that I try to type, it's going to store that into a variable. And the next step that I need to do, I need to instead of like this one here, this is like try to map all, or try to render all of the result from that, and underneath here I need to filter out the information or the country that I looking for. So let me just put it on top of here. It's called, just create like a new variable called filter country, and it's supposed to be result dot filter, and it create like a new arrow function, return the items dot country, so which is the result, basically like each result here dot country from that API equal to the country that I'm looking for. In this case it's called search country. So if these two are the same, then we return that information. And now let's just go ahead and use this filter countries, just that filter country. I need to use that, and the map here, I just try to loop through. In this case, if we found that one, it's going to return me one country, so I just need to use that map. Actually if we only have like one country, then we no longer need this one, but then again just try to show you for now. Now let's see, let's say when I try to search for USA, then you can see if I match that record, then it show me the result here. And what else can I do? Cambodia, then you can see that this is the result. Or it can be like in China, here the result, stuff like this. So now what are the next step? I don't actually want to see something like this. Instead of like show, at least like try to search for that, what I can do here, say if the search country, the value inside the search country is an null or is an empty, it means it's not empty, then I show you this information. Otherwise I try to show you like all of the countries. And now let's see here. Alright, here we go. This is what we are going to have, and say China again, here it is, and then Italy, here we go. So yep, that's how we're gonna have that. And the thing is that this is not something we actually get it, but then I want to try to improve something a little bit better. We can do something better, like having, instead of say the country start with C, then we can't really see anything. At least we try to complete like the whole country name to see that. But this is not something that we want right now. We can try to improve that using the include functions. But then by then it means that I need to change the name a little bit as well. So say like search country to like plural, to make sure that we can actually search for more countries at the same time. This one here, filter the countries to basically it's not like necessary to do, but it's best practice. So instead of the country equal to the search country, I just use the keyword includes. Also, I need to change these two countries and see, yep, this one as well, countries. Now let's go back and see the result here. Alright, so this is all the country that we see. Let me try to search for countries start with C. You can see that instead of like trying to try to type the whole country name, it try to search for something says like if this actually includes something inside that country name, then it try to show me. So CH, then here we go, we can see that. Or let me search for my country. This is the country, Cambodia. Or maybe I can just get rid of this and see if it's still working. Here we go. You can see that even though when I try to search something in between of the country name, it's still working. Say here, what about country start or include the character, like here India. This is the number of that, and this is in Indonesia, stuff like this. So let me do or capital letter, small letter here, a lot of here. This is inside this. And there's one thing is that if you can see, I haven't tried to convert the search tag into like something, say lowercase or stuff like that, because say if I try to search for Cambodia with the lowercase, then you can't see the result at all unless you have to type exactly the same as that. But we can improve that if we want to, just using like the function to convert this search keyword into the lowercase, and also all of these countries, basically like the country that we are looking or try to search for here, try to convert that into a lowercase, then it should work fine. But for now, I'm going to just leave it as it is. And also I'll try to going to host this application. So whatever you can see here inside this local 3000 into the Netlify, so that you can just click on the link and see the result on the fly. And there's one thing I need to improve a little bit, not really like improving, but just add like a text on top of here, says like right here, just put like H2 tag and then a styling, put it into like the center, COVID-19 live states. And this is just like the going to the next line underneath this here, just to make it look a little bit better. So right here. Alright, so yep guys, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. And remember to stay safe and stay at home if you can. Don't just go out at this moment, and everything should be fine eventually. And see you guys in the next video.